Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in my hands I've got the ZVE10 Mark II, and having used the ZVE10 Mark I extensively over the last 2 years, I'm going to give you guys my opinion on whether it's worth upgrading to the ZVE10 Mark II or whether you should skip this model and actually go for the A6700. So when picking up this body for the first time, I immediately noticed that the grip is quite substantial. It reminds me a lot of the XS20 grip, going from the XS10 to the XS20, and that is exactly what happened here. Because of the FZ100 battery, they've obviously had to improve the grip on this unit to be able to hold the newer battery. Now that makes a huge difference. With the ZVE10 Mark I actually had a cage on that unit in order to hold it because the grip was just too tiny. However, with this one, I wouldn't see the need to actually buy a small cage for this unless you're obviously looking at protecting it. Now, on build quality, what I have noticed is that, I don't know if you guys can hear, but the grip on this is, it's more plastic that is actually built into the unit. Unlike the ZVE10, which has a rubber grip, this one has a plastic grip. It seems to be like it's, you know, part of the unit. And then also what I like about this new design is that your SD card slot is now on the side of the unit, similar to your Sony A7C, which I'm currently recording on. So which means when swapping out the SD card, you're not going to need to open up the battery compartment. It's just less of a hassle for me. And there is some minor upgrades in terms of build quality. You've got a Type-C port over there, and then you've also got your HDMI, your micro HDMI adapter, as well as your headphone port, and then on top here you've got your audio or mic input. Other than that, the body looks quite similar. It's obviously a bit sleeker looking than the ZVE10 Mark I, and you now got a switch. Instead of the button press on the ZVE10, I prefer this over the ZVE10. Reason being, you don't need to look at the screen to see what setting you're actually in. Once you switch it over, that's where you know it is. Unlike with the ZVE10, once you press the button, you actually have to look onto the screen to see whether you're in movie setting, SNQ, or photo mode. Now just quickly on the lens, the newest 16 to 50 f3.5 to 5.6 lens. Now you guys can comment down below. I'm not too sure, I don't have this kit lens any longer, but I'm pretty sure that the older version had a metal lens mount. Now as you can see here, this one does not have a metal lens mount, obviously for weight saving purposes. This will be the new kit lens that will come bundled with the ZVE10 Mark II. Obviously with the ZVE10 Mark I still think they're shipping out with the older lens. So all your buttons are still on a similar spot. You've got your record button over here. You've got your command dial at the back, only one command dial. And then you've got your D-pad, which is rotatable over here. And then you've got one custom function button, and this one is automatically set to defocus mode out of the box. To me, quite personally, it looks better thought out or better put together than the ZVE10 Mark I. And for me, this is one of the reasons why, having the SD card slot on the side, having a bigger battery, and your switches, everything is well thought out on the ZVE10 Mark II. So we are in full auto mode, intelligent auto with eye and face detection, automatic, running on the kit lens, the new version 16 to 50 3.5 to 5.6. I'm using the internal microphone on directional towards the front of the camera, so it's facing towards me, so you guys can see what it sounds like. I'm going to change over to an external microphone, not an expensive one. So with this auto mode, we just want to see what it looks like. You know, everything is set to auto for a newbie to this camera. Then after that, I'm going to change to, you know, a 15mm f1.4. I'm going to throw on an ND filter so we can just compare what it looks like to the standard or intelligent auto mode. Okay, so it's starting to rain now. We're on in manual mode in 4K 24p 1/50 shutter, and I'm on the 15mm f 1.4 without stabilization. As we know, the lens doesn't have stabilization. So this is what it looks like compared to the auto mode that we've done prior to this. Don't know if you guys can see, but it's starting to rain. And we're on the external mic, which is a cheap Boya MM1. I've got an ND filter. I'm running on f1.4, and this is without stabilization. As we know, the ZVE10 Mark II does not have internal stabilization, as well as this lens, no stabilization. How's the audio compared to the internal audio of the ZVE10 Mark II? Cinematic mode with the black bars top and bottom. On S Cinetone. Yeah, let's see what that looks like. S Cinetone. On S Cinetone, the cinematic option on the ZVE10 Mark II, and I think the newer cameras has it as well. With the black bars, it's cropped on top and at the bottom. S Cinetone. Let's change the picture profile and see what it looks like. What do we have? Clean. That's clean. And then we'll change to, that's chic. I don't know if the dynamic range on these are the same or not. Okay. Chic. We've got fresh. Looks like it's got a heavy orange hue to it. So this is the fresh mode. Then we've got the mono, but I think I like the S Cinetone. I think I'm going to change back to S Cinetone. Here we go, S Cinetone. Posing with zebras, about 65 for my skin tone. This comes shipped with a newer sensor, which you're going to find in the Sony a6700 as well as the FX30. It's a new and improved, upgraded sensor compared to the Sony a6600 or all the a6000 series, including the ZVE10. And we know that those units suffered from rolling shutter. Now, that's not the case with the sensor. The rolling shutter performance on the sensor is way more improved, even in 4K compared to the previous versions. Now with this new sensor comes benefits. You're able to shoot up to 422 10-bit 4K in 600 megabits per second all eye. Now that was unobtainable with the previous ZVE10. Your maximum bitrate on the older unit was 100 megabits per second. With this unit, you're able to get up to 600 megabits per second in an all-eye codec, obviously using the UHS 2 cards in this unit. Now, one of the major improvements for me has got to be the menu system on the ZVE10 Mark II compared to the older version. On the ZVE10 Mark I, it still had the very old interface of Sony, which was very, everything wasn't logically placed. However, with the new menu system on the ZVE10 Mark II, you know, if you go into a menu or a sub menu, you know, automatically, logic tells you that this setting should be there, and automatically it is there. So with the new menu and the new touchscreen interface is one of the huge improvements for me from the older generation cameras. Now, normally with the ZVE10 Mark I, when you're vlogging with it, you've got to know where the buttons are, the back, your function, your menu, you know, just to get around, to not turn the camera back to you to look at the screen. You've got to know where all the buttons are to make any changes while you're busy recording. However, that's not the case with the ZVE10 Mark II. With this unit, you're able to tap whether you're changing your ISO, your aperture, your shutter speed, you know, even your eye animal detect, your autofocus, your whatever you want to change. Your record button is everything is basically on the screen, and you're able to tap it and change functions as you wish without actually even touching the back of the panel. Now the ZVE10 Mark II out more compared to the FX30, which is a cinema body, and the Sony ZVE1, which is Sony's full frame vlogging style camera. Now this thing is, Sony's pushing this out more as a vlogging style camera and not as a hybrid body. Now even though the ZVE10 Mark I was also not, launched as a hybrid body, more as a vlogging style body. The ZVE10 Mark 1 had a mechanical shutter, and that the ZVE10 Mark 1 had a mechanical shutter, and all your A6000 bodies had a mechanical shutter. However, on the ZVE10 Mark 1, on the ZVE10 Mark 2, there's a lack of a mechanical shutter on this unit. On the ZVE10 Mark 1, you had the option of EFCS, which is electronic front curtain shutter, as well as mechanical shutter and silent shutter. Now this one only has a silent electronic shutter, so with the result, you're not going to be able to use flashes successfully on this unit. Therefore, I would say that is a kind of a negative for this unit compared to the ZVE10 version 1. But other than that, I can only see improvements over the ZVE10 Mark 1. Example, your 10-bit versus your 8-bit in the ZVE10, your bitrate speeds compared to the ZVE10 Mark 1, your touch panel control, your new user interface, as well as your bigger battery. Those are all nice new additions to the ZVE10 Mark 2. Now, would I recommend this as an upgrade to the ZVE10 Mark 1? It all depends what you're going to be using it for and what you're looking for in a body. If you're looking at getting a photo video hybrid body with electronic viewfinder, then this is not the camera to go for. Then you're going to want to look at the Sony A6700, which is a fantastic body. However, if you're looking for a light vlogging style camera with excellent image and video quality, something pocketable, portable, or not pocketable, portable to carry around as a daily, and you've got your A6700 example, or you've got your full frame camera, then by all means this is an excellent choice. However, like I said, if you're looking for a true hybrid body, this is not it. So having said all that, would I recommend this as an upgrade over the ZVE10 Mark 1? And obviously, yes, it's definitely an upgrade over the ZVE10 Mark 1, but is it the right purchase for you? Now, you've got to look at two things. Number one is the mechanical shutter. You're going to be using it for photo and for video. Or let me rather say professional photo and video, because this thing would be perfect for photo content creation, video content creation, without using flashes, etc., as a daily content creation tool. Because even with the FX30 also having electronic shutter, you're able to take decent images even with the excellent rolling shutter performance on these units. I think maybe that's why Sony didn't put in a mechanical shutter, because with the ZVE10 Mark 1, with a terrible rolling shutter performance, electronic shutter would not have worked on those units. And I think maybe that's also part of the reason why these units came out with only electronic shutter, because of the excellent rolling shutter performance. Now, like I said, is it worth upgrading to the ZVE10 Mark II? If you're going to be looking at a hybrid professional body, then I would say rather look at the Sony A6700 or maybe a full frame camera. However, if you're looking for something as a daily, content creation, photo creation workhorse, then I would recommend the ZVE10 Mark II over the ZVE10 Mark 1. But in terms of price, there is a huge gap between the two in terms of pricing. The ZVE10 Mark 1 is still a fantastic camera in 2024 and beyond for the next couple of years. However, with this, you're getting 10-bit 422 all-eye in an excellent codec, whereas with your ZVE10 Mark 1, you're still running at 100 megabits per second, and it's only an 8-bit camera, which I don't have an issue with. My Sony A7C is an 8-bit camera. I'm very happy with it, and I'm probably going to be happy with it for the next couple of years. So that's my take on the ZVE10 Mark II, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace out till the next one. Step up. Step up. Step up. Awesome.